This is going to be a little bit different today. It's going to be much more interactive and much more of discussion of how we can change the world. And so I thank you really all for coming today. Lee, would you like to start off and tell us who our sponsor is for today?
Hello, everyone. Good to see so many familiar faces. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Lee Tully Ware, and the event is sponsored by Incentives today, bring individuals together as communities and to do things way beyond ourselves sometimes, reach beyond our own dreams to help other people fulfill theirs. So our sponsors are Incentive.
Wonderful. So I'm going to start off today with a little bit of a speech. Let me just get this ready here. And I would like to say to all of you, Lee, can you set up some breakout rooms for me? Make it like, um, let's make it like 4 or 5 people per room. If you could do me that favor. Okay. So thank you so much, all of you, for coming here today. And today, as I said, as has been my habit in the past, I would like to start off with a story. This is a story that I witnessed myself over the years and which brought us all here to this stage today. But before the story, I would like to set the stage. Most orchestras, as you know, have patrons or foundations attached to them. But why do people and businesses attach themselves to orchestras? What do they get out of it? Sometimes the answer is strange. Once there was a woman in New York City who literally saved the Metropolitan Opera by donating $6 million of her own money to the opera. And why did she do it? Because she loved to hang out with musicians and was fascinated by the labyrinth passageways that seemed to lead nowhere and everywhere at the same time in the dark corners of the Metropolitan Opera House. But that fortunate example is the exception to the rule. Most people give money to the arts for one reason and one reason only: tax deductions. But some people become attached to the arts for business reasons, and that's the story I'd like to tell today. The president of the patronage of the orchestra where I work was the president illegally for almost 20 years. He fought and kicked and stormed his way back into the position time and time again. But why? Why did he want this position so desperately? And the reason was because he made amazing contacts through throwing orchestra parties. He would invite people he would like to do business with a private orchestra concert, and then would give them a fancy toast at the end of the meeting. At the end of his 20-year reign, he had become one of the richest people in the state and was awarded the contract for the construction of the longest highway in this part of the country. Classical music was very good for his wallet. And we are here today to gather ideas which could be good for other people's wallets as well. So before we start the first breakout room, I would like to give you an idea which I would love to hear your feedback about when we all come back here. The Boston Symphony has 3 sponsors: Bank of America, Rolex, and American Airlines. If you were the owner of one of these companies, what business would you like to get out of your association with the Boston Symphony Orchestra, and how would you go about doing it? Remember, this exercise is not about how wonderful classical music is, but rather how to use classical music to grow your business. So, Lee, if you'd like to send us all out into breakout rooms, and we'll be back in 10. Lee, do you have in the corner that it says we have 6 minutes left?
No.
Why is it saying to me that we have 6 minutes of the meeting left?
Oh, breakout rooms in progress. No, it says 6 minutes and 13 seconds in 6-0.
But why is that there? Does that mean
I
the meeting?
don't know. I don't know. I think it's going to do 7 minutes. I don't know where that time came from. I didn't put a time in.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know.
But it's not that
Off.
the meeting's going to end. It's not the.
No, no, it's not. It says breakout rooms in progress.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's counting down to 7 minutes.
Okay.
So
Okay.
bear in mind we're still on record as well.
Oh, you're right. Stop the recording. Um, So, I'd like to know your opinions and ideas about what just happened. What was talked about in your rooms? Let's discuss it for a couple minutes here. Anyone like to start?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
Hi. Okay, so first of all, it's very interesting that people from all over were are interested exactly in the same business because in my room we had somebody from Nebraska, from San Diego, and then we had Susan from England and myself from Israel. So we have the whole world, but all of us, yes, all of us thought that that music and art as well is a very good way to have to increase the business and the income of business. Why? Because actually, I guess you know, I know it from my business because I'm an image consultant, that people work from their hearts. And what's more than art? Art, A-R-T, to work exactly to your heart, Heart. This is the thing. So the trigger, the challenge is to find the way, and we spoke about several ways. Um, Daf suggested that we, according to his business, based on his business, that we should approach managers of big companies, invite them to Zoom meeting, explain them the why we need it, what's the importance of it, and then they will join. And he gave an example that one who supports the orchestra supports the opera as well, because the more you support, the more you affect. And then we spoke about how we do it at this age, going from fairs and shares to the digital media because of the COVID. And we see that we can do many things together, but then the time was over and we are looking
Okay,
forward.
we're gonna have another chance. We're gonna have another chance, but this was just like to warm up the Zoom room. Let's just put it that way. So, anyone else have any comments? Hands up, anyone? Anyone like to say anything?
I will say I had a fantastic chat with Barbara and Yi. Barbara, an artist, a painter, and Yi is a student in classical music. So it was fantastic to hear their point of angles. Like Yi was focusing on absorbing more information, learning anything from this group, while Barbara was telling me her challenges of being a creative person, and it was difficult for her to bring that marketing side, that business side into her world and putting her feet on the ground. And basically, I was just giving them my opinion about stop chasing opportunities, making themselves visible these days, because that's what it is. Everybody's searching, so you gotta make yourself visible to the new opportunities and start wasting time on chasing and getting frustrated but not getting responses. So that was a little bit of the overall conversation we had.
Thank you, and I'd like to make a comment on that. This Zoom call is being patronized by ECI, which is an educational system about how to grow your business and how to bring people into it. Next month, we're going to hopefully Dante. Hopefully going to have everyone from our synergy team, and we're going to be talking about exactly how classical music and marketing can work together in this way. So, anyone else would like to say something about that to the musicians here before I say that to the musicians here? It's a it's not a difficult road, but it's a road less traveled. The road to get to good marketing as an artist, and it is a hard one. When I first started doing this, I know not only knew nothing about business, I didn't even speak the language because I learned it all in Spanish. Okay? It is a really, really hard road, but it's one that the people are really, really nice. And for example, in my case, I didn't understand the business words. I knew the words in Spanish for music and for history. I didn't know the words for business. And so I would just sit there almost crying in the meetings saying, is that a word that I just don't know because I don't know it? Or is it a word that's new because of the area that I'm in right now? So it is possible. It is really possible, and it's a wonderful journey once you get there. Okay, so thank you all of the artists and musicians who are here today. Anyone else have any other comments they'd like to make?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind sharing from our room. We kind of finished on a note of if you removed, so okay, there's the kind of conversation here we're having is how can we show the business community and how can we show the world the value of classical music and how it can be used. We finished the note in our room on a conversation of if you took classical music out of the world, now we'd have a very different world, because actually we're all probably hearing it. Obviously, a lot of people here probably listen to it with intention every day, but even those people that maybe do not appreciate classical music are probably hearing it on a daily basis in one form or another, be it through their television, through, you know, movies, through advertisements, marketing. So maybe the conversation is less about how to show businesses and marketers and all the rest of it how it could be used, and maybe just demonstrate where it's already being used, right? Because it is actually when you dive it into it, it's really, really widespread already. And what we were kind of saying in our room was, it might be less an issue of, okay, people don't appreciate the classical music, but why don't they appreciate the classical music? Maybe it's because they haven't recognized it as classical music when they hear it. So maybe that's part of the conversation, to show them where it already is, and then build from there.
Or as a really good and unique marketing resource. That's an Emily, go ahead. Thank you, Eamon. That was fantastic. Go ahead.
Just my small example, when I launched my first website, it was actually about Mexican tours. I was including classical music, actually music from Mexican contemporary composer Jose Elizondo. He gave me permission, and it was my idea, when people are clicking on Mexico, looking at Mexican tour, to hear this classical music. It was actually including some folklore known from Mexican classical music. And I think the same concept can be included even, you know, website. Like in my case, I'm working in different countries, and I wanted to include music of each country when person like clicking this country. But music can be in environment, in the conferences, I mean, classical music, in many events for people to use, to listen to it, to appreciate it, and it really calming people. It's really helping people, you know, even perceive information differently. So if each of us, I don't know in what capacity we are working, would include this music, you know, even in meetings, couple of minutes before people, you know, get together, as you, Kati, do, yes, sometimes, it will really give people exposure and appreciation of the music.
But the reason we're here today, thank you for that. And I want to talk about later on about why Mexico is so special when it comes to classical music. Well, I'll probably say it right now. Our second national anthem, you can't play it without a full symphony orchestra. I think it's the only country in the world that you can't be Mexican unless you have a European symphony orchestra behind you. It's a very strange concept. But what I was going to say is, we all know what classical music is worth, but the reason we're here is, how do we make money from it? Keep that in your mind. How can we use music as a marketing tool? How can we use it to be different? Not only music, but art and culture. How can we use it to be different? And I'll give you a very easy example. They say the 80-20 rule, that you can only promote your business 20% of the time. 80% has to be something about your company or about something. Some of the best businesses use classical music or nationalistic music. And let me see if I can just pull this up here. Colin, you're going to be up next if you just want to get ready. But while I look for this video here, give me 1 second. Or actually, Colin, if you'd like to go now, and I'll look for that video. Go ahead.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. My name's Colin. As I said, I'm sitting in South Africa. I'm not an artist, Barbara. I'm a doodler. I'm an engineer who's turned to doodling to simplify messages. So I'm going to tell you a story of my involvement in this group in the last 3 months, sorry, I beg your pardon, which has been quite interesting. But for two of my colleagues, Dante and Leah, can you remember a year ago, almost to the day, that we sang Happy Birthday to the Rose of GPT, Marguerite's birthday today. So
Certainly.
I drew some roses for the rose of my life, Marguerite, who happens to sit in the Netherlands, and is part of the Female Wave of Change movement. A wonderful, wonderful lady. Okay, so let me tell you the story. I joined this group, I think 3 months ago. This is coming up to the fourth. And I explained to them that my background, I was born and brought up in Liverpool, Beatles, Rolling Stones, etc. And over the years, I still sing all of, heavy AC/DC, but I've also gained an appreciation of classical music and attempted many times to learn the classical guitar, believe it or not. So what I understood was this was to bring 4 influence groups together. So I called myself, in fact, an accompanist. I draw pictures to tell stories, to build emotion, actually. And of course, when I do my moving pictures, my videos, my explainer videos, I do use music background as a background to the words. And it was very interesting, Eamon saying that if you remove music from, say, a horror film, it's a totally different experience. So the music in the background can build the emotion and help tell the story. So as I understood it, this was a group to get together 4 influence groups: performers, people with venues, audiences, and business people can be members of those 3. Performers in this lockdown of out of work, venues can't open, and audiences can't go to venues, so they are prevented from getting the experience. And the idea was, how can we put these together? Now, I met on the first meeting, unfortunately he's not with us today. Oops, I met, so from Jagger to Wagner. I, in fact, attended the opening, the special season of a Wagner opera, La Scala Milan, many years ago. So I use it to evoke memories. I use it to accompany my own stories. I use it to create pictures. Anyway, I met a guy called Charles Luxford in one of the breakout rooms. He's a professional singer, baritone singer of 24 years experience in Northumbria in the UK. And his business, well, he sings professionally, but his business is teaching people to sing. And this lockdown, and he's also a member of BNI, this lockdown has prevented him doing that because he can't do it. But very strangely, and he just happened to mention it, he had been asked very recently, that's 3 months ago, if he couldn't help a friend or a family member of a BNI person who had had a stroke. Now, strokes are one of the 7 deadliest diseases. In fact, about number 4, and it's a debilitating disease, and it can happen when you're 10 or when you're 110. It's perceived to be an elderly disease. One of the big debilitations is you lose your voice. It's called aphasia. You lose the. So Charles had been asked, and he'd done 2 sessions with this one person, professional man who'd lost his voice, couldn't practice. He was a lawyer, in fact. And Charles was teaching him with his singing, his diaphragm breathing, and creating from the diaphragm here, or the belly, to replace the vocal cords. It was a very trying exercise, and like everything, the person had to practice it, and it was. So we got together, and funnily enough, somebody a few years ago had asked me, couldn't I use pictures to bridge that, the communication? So we got together, and I started animating Charles's lessons, literally do, re, mi, do, do, do. And we gave a visual thing for the person to look at while they were practicing. So that happened. And then we said, well, why couldn't we use this in communication. Charles is a member of the BNI, so we started to think of it in terms of our presentation pictures. And Charles is a singer, and he's got a musical brain, and we started to put songs together. That has led on to Charles now doing educational work in the UK. And you wouldn't believe it, he's got a lot of work now. So the combination of putting me together with him, he's getting more and more work, and we're generating more and more ideas. So it's worked for us. I'm accompanying him, and then only a week ago or 10 days ago, he said to me, "Have you heard of Franz Schubert?" I said, "Yes, I have." But oh, well, there is a piece of music called Winterreis, and it's 75 minutes long. The singer sings for 75 minutes. And the problem is you can't get an accompanist, a pianist, to last for 75 minutes. So you have to use two pianists. And Charles likened this to a BNI meeting where we have a meeting every week run by a leadership team with three people: the president, the vice president, and the secretary treasurer. And we've now started to produce learning material to show how they act like a trio with the vice president and so it's all creating visual pictures, but it's working. We're getting, and Charles is getting income. So I'll finish off with a story. Charles lives in Northumbria, but he often visits Scotland. And I've christened him Bonnie Prince Charlie. So I now rebrush the Skyboat song for Charlie as he's going to John O'Groats, because he does a lot of professional rowing actually. And what do? Well, I make a pretty hatchet job of his choppy seas. And he introduced me to Franz Schubert, and I found I can download a piece of classical music every day now. And I've started downloading Franz's piano concertos and playing it. But funnily enough, on this first one, you guys talked about Beethoven having the biggest piano in Vienna and getting all the gigs. And so I'm persuading Charles now that we must break through Hadrian's Wall and go and have a Winterreis for 75 minutes in the sun of England. So that's me. Food and wine, decide which is the soloist, which is the accompanist. And if you want me to help you tell a story, you can contact me here. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. And that's absolutely unbelievable. And the reason that Charles isn't here today is because he actually has so much work that he couldn't come, which is one of the amazing things that's come out of this. I would like this ripple to reach so many other people in this manner. And one of the ripples, Isaías, ¿está? ¿Está? I would like
Yes,
to.
I am here.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, I would like to tell a story. This is kind of like a fairy story. Isaías, when I met him, he was the president of his Rotary Club. He also owns a company that has 12 private airplanes and 4 helicopters. And I don't know how I did it, but I was brave enough to go up to him and say, "Do you want a free concert? Do you want a concert for Rotary?" And he said, "Sure." And so we started this adventure. It was about 4 years ago that we did this, and we started this adventure that's still going now. He's still patronizing my concerts, and it was one of the most fun times. We made, I think total we made about $3,000 in the first concert that we did together, but it was also the pilot for what I'm talking about now, because I turned the lobby of the theater into like an international BNI session, and I closed the theater and I put booths of the people, of the businesses that I thought would pull the most. And one person sold, I think she sold $4,000 worth of her product, and her product was speed reading, because what do rich people want? They want more time to do stuff. And so what she sold like wildfire, and that has been the basis for what I have been doing since that day. And it's all thanks to Isaias. Thank you so much for coming. It's all thanks to him and the adventure that we did that first time. So up
No,
next, yeah,
thank
go
you so
ahead.
much. No, thank you, Kathy, because as you remember, the money gotten for this concert was used to build one of our basic schools here in Toluca. Thank you so much for that work, which was great, great, great opportunity to meet you, and of course to bring music to the people here in Toluca. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I would say as a networking thing, wouldn't it be amazing to reach, for me, unreachable people like Isaias through music? I mean, what else would I have had to offer him than this? So it's an amazing, amazing way to network. Um, Isaias, I'd like to talk to you after the meeting because I have some great news for you. So, but anyway, we'd like to go on now to Dante. Dante, if you'd like to introduce yourself and to talk a little about what we're doing here.
Yes, thank you very much, Kathy. Well, my name is Dante Fiorini. I reside in Spain. I am the current VNI Global Power Team President, which is an honor. That's where I met Kathy and some of the other members that are here with us today. I run a marketing agency based in California, but I have offices in Buenos Aires, Spain, and in UK. I have a group in South Africa, and been discussing with Kadi how to help classical music being promoted, how to promote culture as well. I think it's very important that we don't lose this. I think it's very important that we transmit a message to the younger generations. I think it's all about that, right? Because if they don't get the message, they're gonna forget about it, and we were going to be here for a certain amount of time, right? So we need to make sure that this preserves with time. And there may be many ways really to promote. The Global Power Team is one of them. I think this is the work we are doing with Kadi right now. I'm trying to help her get noticed, make sure that she's being found by new opportunities. And I am sure that we will find ways to make classical music profitable. I believe in the future. I believe in technology. I believe that we need to use the new mediums as well. Classical music has always been, on events, on physical places because obvious reasons. But I think that we need to take this to the next level, and we're working on it. So we'll get there. Thank you, Kathy, for inviting me today.
Thank you so much. If you can see the picture behind me, I'd like to talk about this picture a little bit here. And this is going to be the subject of our next breakout room, okay? So this picture, I took it from a video. I just took a screenshot of a video, okay? This picture is of an orchestra that has 47,000 fans on Facebook. It has 16,000 fans on YouTube. And as you see here, it's a Mexican wine company who's patronizing. And so I went to the conductor. It's actually in my town. This orchestra's in my town. I went to the conductor and I said, "How much are you getting for that publicity?" And he said, "Oh, it's fantastic. We're getting 200 bottles of wine a year." Okay. So in the next breakout room, I would like to ask all of you, what would you do? What would you give as a business to a classical orchestra to get that kind of publicity? Probably 50, 60,000 people a month see that. So what would you give and how would you approach an orchestra and what would you like to get out of it? So that's the thought for the next breakout room. Are we ready, Lee? Do we have perfect 10 minutes? We'll see you guys back here. Thank you very much. That's fantastic. That brings me to a comment about something that I'm going to be doing in the concert that I have next week. We're going to start having exclusive offers for people who promote culture. And so if you come to my concert, you can get discounts on mezcal, you can get discounts on wine, you can get a special treat if you book a private flight through Isaias here. So this is something that we're working on, that there's exclusive offers to be had there. There's also an exclusivity from a group of people like that. So thank you so much. I would like to ask people's opinion about what happened in the breakout rooms. Does anyone have something they'd like to say?
Yes, I was asked to share what I talked about. I'm not in the music business. I have a metaphysical academy, but I shared something important that I learned recently, and that is to not give any more discounts. To either give a free concert or a free scholarship, full free scholarship for students of the academy, or have them say, if you don't have the money, just do it for another year. That was such a profound shift, and it was you, Kathy, who I talked to you about. I talked to you about this. Or if you ever give one discount, they expect you to give the same one next time. So, and to do any exchange, like the suggestion come, do it for a bottle of wine. Now, what do we do with a bottle of wine if you don't drink and it doesn't feed your family? So. I really wanted to share that, because giving all these special deals puts in the mind of the person you do business with the idea that you're not doing well, that you're starving, that you're probably not worth it in the first place.
Yep,
So when there's any sponsorship, it should be for the full fee. I don't know what you pay for concert, maybe $5,000, maybe $10,000. I don't have a clue, but it should be a set fee, and it should be in contract, and not, it should be like a professional sales process, rather than, just based on goodwill and little communications back and forth.
That's a fantastic point. Let's hit that point for a second there. So, you have all these musicians out of work. Let's just talk about image here. You've got all these musicians out of work. So if I go up to you and I say, can you please hire me? Come on, I know you have a birthday coming up. Can I just play for your birthday party? I'll charge you a quarter of what I normally do. Or if I say to you, I have a free concert, you want to come?
Mm-hmm.
I really want to help out my town. I have a free concert. I'm the same person. I'm earning the same amount of money. I have a free concert. Do you want to come? I have a free concert in this amazing hacienda. I've taken over the entire building. It makes me look like I have a ton of money, that I rented this place. It's not that I have a deal with this person, right? I rented this place and I give this concert and I give away tickets to who I feel like. I have a completely different image.
Mm-hmm.
As musicians, don't lower your prices. Because I did that, I did it 3 times in 1 month. I was crazy. I did 3 different concerts in 1 month. She earned $12,000 of extra, the owner of the building, she earned $12,000 in extra contracts for her building. And my group earned about $3,000 in 1 month, because we gave away the concerts. And people don't come up to us now and say, hey, can you lower your price? Mm-hmm. If they do, I say, sure, I won't play. I'll send someone to my place. No, but I really want you to play. I say, okay, fine. That's the price. If you want a cheaper price, I'm sending my sub. And that's how you do it. So, and really a trick with classical music for the musicians who are here, don't lower your price. Give it away for free. Give it away for free. Say, I'm giving away a concert to a charity. And I say, I want the recording. I want a professional recording, and I want you to pay that person. Mm-hmm. Because how much does a recording cost? Right? So, I mean, I could perhaps get money for the concert. We'd wheedle over the price, and then I'd have to pay more money to get the recording. So if I sit there and say, I'll do it for free, and then they hire someone, I'm basically spending less money than I would have otherwise. Okay? So what are things that could be given in kind at a concert?
Can I come in there, Kathy? Yeah.
Okay.
One of my businesses in Ireland is an adventure park, and sometimes we have groups of like 50 or 100 people. And a common thing we would get would be either a corporate client phoning up or a university phoning up saying, we'd like to use your venue throughout the summer for our teams. We have 2,000 employees and we'd like to bring a team every week. And so they tell us that bit in business, that's called the land of promise. Yeah. And when you can compete on price, it's the fastest race to the bottom. Yeah. So you have to have a value. You have to message that, communicate that. So when that, obviously, what they're loading on the back end is, well, we've got several restaurants, we've got several hotels, we'd like you to play across the chain, and they're looking for your best price. So how do you tell a corporate client that's got 2,500 employees, or a university that might have, like you're speaking to the president of the student union, and he or she is trying to get the best deal from you, and they want the best discount? I mean, if somebody's bringing you 2,000 people regularly, do you charge them the same amount as you would for a walk-in client? So what we would say is, we're happy to give you a discount based on those numbers. What we recommend you do first is that, obviously, before you make that commitment, is you come once with a group, because I've already asked them the average size of the group, and they say 50, so that's fine. Come at the normal price first at 50, and what we'll do is we'll discount that on the back end when you bring your second group. So the point is you're not lowering your price, but when they come and test, or you go and play at the restaurant at your normal price, or the hotel, after that, you've got the contract. And the contract is the commitment for you to them. And if they cancel that contract, all discounts that you've given, whether you're giving a discount across the board, or whether you're doing a free one on the 10th one, however you do it, you just don't discount on the front end. You might discount to get the commitment from a hotel chain, whether that's an orchestra we play in 10 of your hotels, or whether it's a cathedral, whatever it is. If they say we're looking to get you to play every month, and you're giving the discount based on 12 or 24 different events, the common thing they do after the second or third one is then they say, we don't need you anymore. So you don't discount on the front end. And if you do discount on the front end, the discount isn't applied until you've actually had what was agreed. Whether that helps you or not, I don't know.
That's fantastic. That's absolutely wonderful. And the whole thing about discounts, you can give something away for free for a price. I give myself away for free for a professional recording or for contacts. And this comes from Eamon. Eamon taught me this. This is it actually, and I did it yesterday. What I did yesterday, the guy, I have a good friend who ran for mayor, and he wants to run again for mayor, but the next elections are 18 months away, and he doesn't know what to do to like make himself famous and get good contacts. So he called me up yesterday and said, you are having lunch with me today. And then he said, I need that toast at the end. That toast is mine. I'm going to put my publicity everywhere. It is mine. You get those other people out of there. They can patronize another event. I don't want them there. I said, okay, great. It's all yours. I'll give you 20 tickets. He said, great. I said, I'll give you a free concert. He said, what? He knows me now. He says, what are your conditions? I said, I want 50 of your best contacts, and I want their contact information. He said, he's thinking about it. I said, and you have to pay for the rental of the hall, because I get the hall for free, but other people have to pay for it. He said, how much is it? I said, $100. I said, you can be a completely private concert, but I want 50 of your best contacts in this room, and I'll give you the concert for free. How much is that worth? And that comes from Eamon. Eamon, thank you so much for that. That's what I did like yesterday, thanks to you. So think about how you could do that. So say you have, for example, you have a trio. You have a friend who owns a trio. You could use the trio to make really good business. And then you could start, this is what I'm going to start doing. I'm going to start doing a hybrid of private concerts with paid public. And so the people who are patronizing the event, they can get 20, 30 tickets. My hall holds about 120 with quarantine going on. So 20, 30 tickets I can give to this person, that person, and then I promote the concert in normal ways. And I hired the best photographer in town. So the best photographer in town is not going to be taking pictures just of the group. It's going to be taking pictures of who's there. So now I have to fill it. Now it absolutely has to be filled, but this is what's going on. Okay. So Eamon, would you like to take over and get us ready for our last breakout room?
Yeah, certainly. And it's interesting. You're welcome, by the way, for however I helped you, but it's interesting, the transfer of knowledge, right? And the ripple effect that knowledge can have. If you imagine a stone in a pond, when you drop a stone in the pond and you see all the little ripples moving out, because it was, you may have learned that from me, it was actually Lee that originally taught me. And then, but now we're having, now it's going wide. We have a room full of people here, and it's very, very, very valuable information to always look for those connections, you know, and connections that, when we say connections, we mean connections, not just I have your name, I have your number, the transfer of trust. And I've spoken about that in this room before, the transfer of trust. So to look, not to look for to always ask for the connection, but ask for the connection where the trust is going to transfer. And as I say, that from Lee to me to Kathy and now to all you guys. So it's amazing to witness the transfer of knowledge. But what I wanted to talk about in terms of you know, what we're here to talk about, classical music and how it can be utilized in business. I'm going to go into marketing language slightly, and I'm going to talk about pattern interrupts. Okay, and it's the role that music plays within marketing and in terms of pattern interrupts, and it's a very interesting one. Like what we're trying to achieve when we're marketing. I mean, the first thing you have to do when you're marketing is you have to interrupt the pattern of the person that you're trying to get attention of, right? So whether that's a concert, and a concert is obviously a pattern interrupt of your day-to-day, or whether it's a video on social media, that's a pattern interrupt of your scrolling on your newsfeed. And many of us think that the music is actually the pattern interrupt. And I think that's not the case. When I was talking to Steve about this earlier on in the week, where it's often assumed you put on big dramatic music and you put something on really dramatic and that's going to interrupt the pattern. It's actually not. Why do we want to make, or why do we want to create a pattern interrupt? Because we want to have a different outcome on the other side of the pattern interrupt. So you have the pattern before the interrupt, and then you have the pattern after the interrupt. The pattern after the interrupt isn't different to the pattern before the interrupt. What was the point of interrupting the pattern, right? And I think that's where the role of music really comes into play. If we think about, some of you may have caught the video that Kathy put out about me, and I was, not about me, but I was talking about these kind of 3 videos where you had one where there was no sound. And that's you scrolling through your social media, and that's all you see because the sound isn't on as you're scrolling through your social media. That's all you see. So you have to interrupt the pattern with the visual. Then you have 2 pieces of music. One was a very soft, gentle piece of music, right? And you could just imagine that being an advertisement for a really relaxing spa retreat break or something like that. Second one was much more dramatic music. It was almost like a battle cry or something like that, or you know, you could imagine naval ships and a battle roaring in the ocean behind the waves. So what outcome are we looking to achieve? If we swap if we were trying to sell a spa break, for example, and we put the second piece of music, that battle type high energy music behind it, would we get the outcome we were looking for, as in click on the link to, you know, schedule to see the rates or schedule your breakaway? Or if we use the first piece of music, which was the nice, relaxing, calm music, and creating that emotional connection with your client or with your audience, how much more likely then are you to get them to click through or take whatever action, whatever outcome we want, whatever difference in the pattern we're looking for. So that's the bit I'm kind of focusing on, I have focused on this week, and that's what I think I'd like us to focus on, maybe all of us collectively. Rather than music being the thing that interrupts the pattern, what if, and just imagine this, what if music was the thing that actually changed the pattern once we've interrupted it?
That's fantastic. Thank you so much. And that puts me into the video that I wanted to show you guys a couple minutes ago when I couldn't find it. So I wanted to preamble this a little bit. How many countries are here today? 10, maybe? Okay. And we're used to that. Those of us who are here today, we're kind of used to seeing 10, 12, 13 different countries in our Zooms. And English is the common language now in these Zooms. And I think the future is going to hold a more global sense. And I'm not saying I'm a very, very positive person. Perhaps with the global sense, perhaps the national parts of the world might be not as much noticed. So if you're a marketer, wouldn't it be a good idea to do things in a national way? to bring yourself out, right? So I was in Japan at a BNI meeting, and I had a one-to-one after the BNI meeting, and the guy said to me, "Oh, you're from Mexico? We have the most amazing ad." So this ad comes from Japan, guys, okay? And I'm gonna show you it. I'm gonna show it with sound. Give me 1 second. Where is it? Give me 1 second. I have to open it. I'm gonna share it with sound, but imagine if it didn't have sound, because it is also made for scrolling. It is also made so that you're interested enough to actually turn the sound on. So here we go. Let me get the sound done well, and there we go. Pull it up.
Oh, cuando pierdas la calma, aférrate a tu alma que te sanará. No te rindas, sigue tus sueños, borra tus miedos, vas a llegar. Mira que así es la vida y así será.
When life becomes an uphill struggle, keep rising. Toyota. Start your impossible.
Now, I will say that Toyota is the most popular car in Mexico. They have so many plants here. There are not so many American cars in Mexico as there are Japanese cars. So how much money did they make recognizing the tie between Japan and Mexico? And for me to get that ad from somebody in Japan here shows the power of the music. But the other important thing there is that even if you had the sound off, it's an amazing video, right? And it's an amazing nationalistic video. So this is something that I'd like to leave with you all. When I started playing concerts, everyone was like, "Oh, you've got to play Mexican music. You've got to play." And I was like, "Oh no, I mean, my thing is European." But on Sunday, I'm going to have a concert. It's a Mexican concert, and it is a concert where people from the audience are going to come up on stage and they're going to say why they love their country. And it's going to be, I haven't decided yet. I might talk a little bit about the composers, because some of the pieces are really fun, how they just kind of went off on like a drunken tour to the beaches to find the most fantastic music and wrote the second national anthem out of it. There's some really fun stories, but I might just let people talk, because this is something also that classical music has lost, is that we've put it on a pedestal. So what if we actually, and I thought about Eamon a lot about what you said, what if we were actually part of the networking that we're no longer part of? And what if the musicians started becoming part of your world? Because I am now part of your world, but it took me years to get here. And it's a very hard journey for us as artists to get to where you are. So I would invite all of you to if you know musicians, that we're kind of a breed unto ourselves. We don't hang out with other breeds. If you know musicians, bring them to the next event. We don't bite, we really want to be able to help each other, and we're all here to make money. We're all here to do something amazing. And Nishit, I saw that you just came on the call. Would you like to talk for a couple seconds here? Are you there?
Hi, Kathy.
Yes, hi, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much for having me on today.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Yes. What would you like me to hear?
I would like you to talk about how Nishit is one of my gurus. I call him my marketing guru. We get together like twice a week to talk about new programs and how I can do different things with the tools that I have at my disposal. Nishit, I would like to just get your ideas about what you think you, as a marketer, as one of the best marketers I know, could do with classical music.
Well, everybody understands that culture is a very important thing. They all want to be associated with culture, and usually like this are maybe the prospects that marketers want to have for their clients and other businesses. So it's important to be able to have a good working balance with people who are in the culture sort of side of things, and then the marketing side of things. It's a good mix of people. And I've found many people in the music industry, they're very good as an artist, but not necessarily very good as a marketer. And that's where they need a little bit of outside help to get more visibility and get their art maybe a little bit more commercial, if I would say that's the word. They can have events, they can have partnerships with other people, and everybody can win.
Thank you. That's
Kathy,
fantastic.
can I just
Sure.
add on to that there? Sorry. That's one other thing, just from what Nish said there, is that when you're dealing with hotels, restaurants, whatever, normally they're paying for advertisement, whether it's the weddings. So, I mean, if you're doing a venue for a hotel, what would happen if you gave them, let's say, what a better deal rather than a discount? If the wedding planner refers them to all the brides that are having weddings there. So you're utilizing the concept to create a revenue stream. The other thing, the same with restaurants. If you're playing in a restaurant or venue, they normally have a Facebook page, and they're normally paying for traffic. They're normally in the market, and if they're not, then this obviously strategy won't work. But if they are, perhaps you could have a deal where they promote you. They're not just promoting their venue, they're also promoting that they have Kathy Barry, the head of XYZ, blah, blah, blah. And you can visit Kathy's website here, or you can book her here, where they're putting a call to action specifically to their audience. And if you're playing for a 4 or 5 star hotel or a 4 or 5 star Michelin star a restaurant or venue, then you're being advertised to the right audience. That way, that advertisement alone could be worth 10, 20,000. And that's where you automatically inject yourself into the market, whether that helps.
Yes, thank you so much. Lee, could you set up the room so that Dante's in one room and Nishit's in another room? And
Kathy, I gotta leave. I'm leaving.
You gotta leave.
Bye bye. Yeah,
Okay.
no. Family's
Okay,
gonna
but I
kill
wanted
me.
to
It's
say
4
before
p.m.
you-
We haven't had lunch, and I gotta
Okay.
run.
But I wanted to say before you leave, Dante. Dante is the reason that I'm still in BNI, and he's the reason that Nishit and I got together in the Synergy Group. He's a marketer in 3 different continents. It's people like him that you need to get together with. And hopefully Dante and I are going to be able to bring a whole mess of new marketers to our next meeting at the beginning of October, so that we can actually talk to the musicians about what we can do together, because it's very separate worlds. We need to start bringing them together. So bring your enthusiasm and they will bring their knowledge, and that's what we're going to work on next time. So Dante, thank you so much for coming. And I'd like to, it's been fantastic to have you here. So I'd like to have us all break out into one last breakout room and just discuss what ideas have come out of what you've heard today. Okay?
All right. Bye-bye, everyone. Take care. See you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Are you ready for me to open the rooms, Kathy?
Yes. Yep, go ahead. Okay, we're gonna do something a little different now. We're just gonna go around the room and everyone's gonna just give their input about what they thought about today and their ideas that they have. Okay? So Lee, you want to start? I'm gonna go according to my screen.
Very good. Well, Kathy and I we have our own breakout room where everyone was in the other one. And sometimes we have the right message, as in the right communication, but we have it with the wrong people at the wrong time. So if we're marketing, sales and marketing is for a broader audience. A conversation is normally between one or a small group of people. So if you're a musician and you're not doing sales and marketing, then you're having conversations. You've got to have the right message with the right people at the right time. So they're the 3 things. When you put those 3 things together, then that's where success is made, in my opinion. Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you. I'll skip myself. Nishit, you're next on my screen.
Sorry, I had trouble with the unmute button. All I would say is, look, there are many avenues you can market on. I would suggest that if you're a business owner or a service provider, the one place that you definitely need to pay attention to at the moment is Google My Business. It is the fastest growing review platform in the world. You need reviews because after word of mouth, online reviews are the things that people trust most when it comes to making a purchasing decision. It's a free resource given to you by Google. Whether you have a website or not, they even provide you a free little website. please go ahead and explore it. I can personally attest to it. I've been the top 1% in London for the past 4 years. I have 70 million views to my photos, but that's nothing if it doesn't translate into action. So we help our customers, and I just showed one customer how he got 7 million views to his photos in the last 3 months, and obviously that leads to sales and conversions. So that's my top tip for you guys today. Please do go and look at Google My Business as a free resource, but use it and use it thoroughly.
Thank you, Nishit. AJ, you're up next.
Oh, hi. Wow, what a wonderful group of people. One thing I'm learning here is just the international connection and ways that we can go and bring classical music back into our communities. And yes, I think that I think the other thing that's really important is that we actually made it very large, and we were able to sell at art shows, festivals, trade shows, and fairs. So if you can meet the promoters of these events and you can say, okay, can we have a booth so that we can go and promote our work? We can do that also live. And maybe we can also do that in these live Zoom rooms and other virtual events. That way that maybe we would be a part of their whole show. Some way, like at the beginning, there'd be an intro, and then maybe at the end. And let's end it now with the Mexico Symphony, and that way people get, oh, and here's the sites to that, and here's our social media, and that way it's all set up. Mostly, if there's time to do that, I think that would be maybe a plus.
That's a fantastic idea, and I'd like to say quickly that a friend of mine on another Zoom call, he said that we have to really not only accept but embrace that this has become part of our new reality. And when we embrace that this has become part of our new reality, how do we take advantage of it? Not that, oh, we're stuck here, no, but how do we take advantage? What marketing skills can we take from here to bring to new Zoom calls, to make them more interesting and to promote our businesses, right? So thank you very much. That was a great comment. Suzanne, you're up. Susanna Poole, you're up.
Thanks, Kathy. So first of all, thank you for organising a really fascinating event with interesting people. I actually, while we were in the event, sent you a LinkedIn message with you, Kathy, with an introduction to a Brazilian musician and entrepreneur that I know, that I think that you should connect with. I've arranged to have a one-to-one with AJ because I've got some ideas for him of people. And yeah, it's just, I think there is a really great opportunity to use classical music in a creative way in terms of offering young musicians that are just in the conservatoire or just graduating connections to large corporates for sponsorship, but also career development. And I'm interested in seeing how we can facilitate that. And I know you and I have a meeting arranged to talk about that kind of thing. So yeah.
Thank you so much. Okay. Wonderful. Thank you for coming today. It was great. Deborah Scott, you're up next.
Hi. Just briefly, I'm not a business person. I'm just learning to be a business person. I've been an English teacher for the last 40 years. I live in Spain. And because of the pandemic, I took a challenge to learn how to take my classes online. And now I have chosen the niche of being a coach, an English coach, specifically for musicians and people in the music world. And so when I saw this advertised, that's why I signed up, because I wanted to be able to learn more about musicians. I know about music because I have a music background just as a hobby, but I'd like to be able to learn more things that I can share with my contacts on LinkedIn and help them learn how to market their skills and get out of unemployment. So I'm already thinking of several different people I can invite, but I am going to keep publishing your information and invites on on my posts. So I will mark it for you as best I can.
Thank you so much. It's people like you that save us as musicians. Okay. People always say, "Oh, I'm not a musician," but you're the most important part. You're the public. We don't exist without you. So thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Please bring anybody that you can. That would be absolutely fantastic. Steve Rush, you're up next.
Thank you, Katie. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's great to be here. I love that this conversation is happening. It's really interesting. And like, I have a background in marketing, and it's not the area I'm in anymore. But I think back to those creating those ad campaigns and how that was done, and we put so much time and effort into the visual elements. Those first 3 seconds, how are we going to stop, grab attention, the color schemes, the color grading, all of that to try and convey whatever kind of message it is, and then you bring the music in to support that. And the music is because you're trying to, obviously, what type of emotion are we trying to achieve here? And we had the music is there to support that. But I often question, I mean, what if it was the other way around? What if we supported the music with the visuals? Because like music has the ability to bring you on a journey all on its own. I was watching Interstellar last night. So many of you seen Hans Zimmer, all done on a church organ. And that music is incredible. I saw that movie first when it came out a few years back. And that's the part I remembered. I couldn't really remember what the movie was about, but that was the part I remember. That's the part that stuck with me. And I think back to some ad campaigns that I've had like over the past few years, and great ones like they're done by Apple and whatnot. And it's the music that I always remember. So what if you created the music first? So what are we trying to convey? What's the message? What's the journey we're trying to bring them on? Created the piece of music around that and supported it with the visuals. And of course, with the rise of podcasts and the audio-based platforms now, music should really be at the forefront. So I feel like there's a flip that could happen. I think it's very interesting.
Thank you. Optimist, the flip that can happen. Did you hear that? That's the mindset that changes the world. Okay. And Ali, you're up.
Yes, thank you, Kathy. What came to mind really clearly for me, particularly in the last breakout room, was that before you can really make all these changes regarding marketing and exposure, there needs to be an internal shift on self-worth and really owning that. And so far, my experience has been that many musicians, not all of them, are very tender souls who tend to be a bit shy. And to get out there and say, I'm worth something, I have a PhD in music when I play the violin the way I do. And what I'm suggesting is that may be another angle to really support the success of each individual musician. Maybe you need to, find a good coach or mentor or therapist, something that needs to change internally so that you get out there with the total confidence and ownership of who you are and what value you are to the world. So that's my contribution for today.
Thank you so much. That was amazing. Leah, you're up.
First of all, it was very interesting as usually, and I had so interesting people at the breakout rooms, and I'm sure I'm going to have at least 2 one-to-ones, once with O'Connor. But I want to return to what you said at the beginning. You said that English is going to be a global language, but music is the international language. It doesn't require words. Everybody understands music, and you don't have to understand. It goes directly to your heart, and this is where decisions are made. And I know it because I'm an image consultant and Science for Success. Yes, you have to see it, and this is exactly what music does. So what has been proven, or at least testified, very important here is, first of all, that musicians should take part in events, and corporates would benefit this connection, but they have, first of all, to mix, and then you have to find the right association. And I must tell you that it requires the corporation, because I was with Ia from Malaysia, who attends here for the first time and is a student for music, and we have already built a full concept regarding her part as a student, a woman, a Malaysian, and of course, one who is going to be on business. Let's do it. It's in our hands. It's the corporation and the open mind, and we have here many people to help you, including myself and all the other, in order to do it properly. It needs the initiative from both sides, just like Katie you do, but you need much more people.
Thank you so much. That was amazing. Thank you. Sylvia Moran, you're up.
Thank you, Kathy, for this call today. I'm learning a lot from you all. That's quite honestly, anyone I meet here, I learn a lot, and I would safely say I'm in a learning zone here. So I'm with a group that's challenging me to think differently. But having said that, I'm from Ireland, and given that I've been working with grassroots musicians for going on 20 years now, I see that there is a bit of a fallout happening with classical music, that the more westernized popular music forms are taking over. And I think in some ways there's a reason for that. And you can disagree with me if you wish. I remember attending my first classical concert after studying for years about all the wonderful instruments, the sounds that they create, the composers, the stories behind all the composers. And the first concert, I was shocked at what I saw on stage. And this happened on a number of occasions. And I saw musicians so sober on the stage. I couldn't understand how could they express the music appropriately to encourage the audience to return. And the people that were returning to the concert hall were just really there for the business behind the scenes, or they were there because it was habitual and they had a season ticket bought. So there's, in my estimation, there's two sides that has to be spoken about. We're speaking about one side of it today, which is more the advanced techniques regarding business, okay, which I'm learning from. But there's also this grassroots level approach that I think is being not spoken about, and it's about communities and inspiring people on the ground. If they see musicians that are so passionate about classical music, that are having fun on stage with each other as they play the piece of music, that it isn't just this sober, dressed in black approach, that it's taken out into communities, and you have chamber music being played at a bandstand in a community of a Saturday afternoon. And these children just wowed at such an event. And then that causes a new following, that causes a power of association to spark off in their brain of something that they've heard on an ad, or they're saying like, what's that instrument? That looks amazing, I'd love to play it. And I think that's one approach that needs to be spoken about more in general. But having said, I mean, all these advanced, what I would regard as advanced business techniques, which I am learning about and trying to self-educate on, are valuable without any doubt. Of course they are. But I think we have to look at grassroots level and lift that up at the same time while looking at the top down.
Thank you so much for saying that. It's so much a part of what I do that I don't even remember doing it. It is exactly what I do. You can't come to a concert of mine if you don't have a glass of wine in your hand. You can't be part of my concert if you're not coming up on the stage. You can't be part of it if you're not having fun. But it's just so much a part of what I do that I haven't said it. So
Kathy, you're probably the most passionate person I've met about classical music in recent months, to be honest. I've met a few others on my podcast, but I find they're hard to find around my neck of the woods anyway. But that's it anyway. That's what I'll say for now.
That's a real point, and thank you so much for saying that, because
I agree.
My whole journey has been to take classical music out of the museums and put them back in the small rooms of castles and put them back as a part of society, because most classical music, and I say this and I'm not being facetious, most classical music was written for drunk people after dinners. And it's the best way to enjoy classical music. And so the first couple of times that I put wine in people's hands, they were like, I'm not drinking that. I'm at a classical music concert. And they've gotten used to it with the time. So thank you. I'm going to talk about that the next time, because it is not only the advertising of the product, it's the product that has to change. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. Thank you. Yitung, your turn? Did I say that right?
Hi. Yeah, yes. You pronounce the right name. Okay, so I'm the Malaysian girl. Okay, that a few of them mentioned my name previously. So actually I do not have much output that I can provide, because this is my first time joining this event. So I'm still absorbing all the information, the knowledge that I've gained for all of you. And then I'm trying to reorganizing my thoughts now, so I can't really like summarize or conclude what I have learned, or what are the things that I can tell. Okay, I can't really do so, because I'm still thinking, what can I do, what should I do as a music student, what should I do as a part of the classical music community. So I hope I can still join you guys next month, and then by the time I already like can give some of my comments, some of my ideas, and share some of my thoughts. So see you guys next time.
No, thank you so much for what you said. Please bring people from Malaysia. I met a lot of people from Malaysia. I mean, I hung out with a lot of them in Thailand when I went to the global convention, and I haven't had a chance to hang out with you guys since then. So please, it would be really nice to have the. It was an amazing, cheerful, happy group that I met in Thailand. So I'd love to see more of you people on the next call. It'll be the first Saturday of October. Colin, you're up. Thank you for coming.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, where is she? Where's Deborah? She's still on the call.
I will
Deborah.
send you my information, okay?
I'm bitterly disappointed. You're an English teacher.
What did you expect me to be?
The rain in Spain. I wanted you to say the rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain.
No, it's the Rhine in Spain. I'm sorry. You don't think you've got it.
If I can just give you a word of advice, what I've done with Charles, just do it. If you've got some idea and you've got at least two of you, it needs two to network, not one. It's not the power of one, it's the power of two. Do it. The problem with, and I'm the worst, the problem with intellectuals is we want to be perfect the first time around. So we delay. Just do it and something will transpire. So you want to tell a story and I'll tell your story for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Colin. That makes a really good point. Musicians, a lot of them are out of work right now. So they have time. So it's not a question of how much it costs to start a project with them. It's just finding them. Just finding them and coming up with a good idea so that not you and not them, but everybody makes money, because it is really possible. And as Colin said, Charles isn't here today because of what they started, and he's got a lot of work right now. So it is really, really possible what we're talking about. Gerald, you're up.
Thank you. Well, we just had the Fleadh Cheoil na hÉireann, it's traditional Irish music, and it's usually a big thing for a town where it's held, but of course it had to be virtual this year. But they got over 1 million views. It was held in my own town in Sligo, so that was a success. I'm really interested in I agree with the whole psychology of self-worth, and it's a big thing in sports as well. It makes the difference, and at the top especially, and the visual that Colin talks about, we neglect that part of the brain as well, and even in business, visual, visual charts are far more helpful, perhaps, than the written word, or they help that side of the brain. Now, just on a practical point, and it's mostly for an Irish audience, in the west of Ireland, there is a commission called the Western Development Commission, and they have invested 66 million so far in industry over the years in the west of Ireland. It's an evergreen fund. They either give loans or buy shares, and then when the company comes good, it goes back into the pot. And they would be concentrating, we'll say, on medical devices, which takes it's a long process, and then they make it good. But there is a Creative West, and they're set up to help artists as well. And they also have a WRAP, W-R-A-P, audiovisual end, where they assist that. So there may be artists in Ireland or even abroad who aren't aware of these micro loans. And if one more person becomes aware of it because of today, well, that'll be a good day's work. So thank you again, Kathy, for another splendid.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Alicia, are you there?
I am. This is serendipitous or happenstance or whatever you want to call it that I'm here. I had no idea such a group existed. And sort of like what Yi Tung said a little while ago, I'm sort of here to learn. I think it certainly provided a lot of food for thought. I think there were some things that were said that have really opened my mind and my perception. And I'm one of those people with tons and tons and tons of passion, but I haven't found a place to channel it. Our trio has a following. It's small but dedicated, and we want to expand that and reach into other possibilities for places for performance and ways to reach people, because unlike our local symphony, we are not dead bodies on stage. We really put our heart and soul into what we do, and it's been frustrating, frankly, to not have an audience. So this is very inspiring, and I appreciate being invited. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I would ask Nishit if you would put your contact information in the chat. I'm also going to put it on the page. Perhaps he's someone who could help you with a couple ideas to get you moving on that.
Thank
Okay?
you.
You're welcome. You're more than welcome. I don't know if Johnny's here. Or I can't say the other person's name. Olyene? Is she here?
Yes,
And,
I'm here.
oh, great. Okay, you're up. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I'm in my PJs. It's Saturday in Canada, and it's a lazy Saturday for me. So I don't want you guys to see my very bad PJs. Okay, back to you. I loved this session. I missed the very first one. I think it was Eamon I was speaking with a couple of weeks ago, and I decided that this Saturday I wasn't going to miss it. And I've written quite a number of nuggets on 3 sheets of paper, scribbling, and this is to attest to, you know, the content that has been passed on here and the wonderful people that have contributed to that. And for you, kudos to you for curating such an amazing event for creatives and opening our you know, giving us the insight into how do we monetize, how do we convert this creativity, you know, into business. And I have met 1 or 2 people who I believe we would, you know, go further into discussion. I look forward to joining ECI, BNI, every network that you guys represent, to be able to bring the best of us to the world, that the world, you know, the world needs right now. So keep at what you're doing. You're doing fantastic, a fantastic job. You're helping to give meaning to the creativity and what we bring to the table as creatives. You know, without what you're doing, we won't really find the equation of what we want to give to the world. So thank you so very much, and back to you.
Thank you so much. I'd like to say that Dante's information is on the page that I just put in the chat. Nishit's information is going to be there in 10 minutes afterwards. So just keep that page. You can just keep that page and reach out to them. They're 2 of the best marketers that I know, and they've helped me so much. And so if you know musicians who need help, these are 2 people that you can reach out to. My goal for next month is to have more marketers on the call so that you can reach out to them and say, hey, how can I do this about music? How can I do this? Because these are the people who've helped me personally. Okay. And they really want to help people like us. And so please keep that web page and pass it on to anyone. I will have also the next event up there, probably by this evening. Eamon, you're the last one on my list here. If you would like to say something.
Yeah, I was having a bit of a giggle to myself when Sylvia was talking about the performers being so sober on stage. I used to have a lot of the guys here now. I used to have an events company, and we were working more with those Western musicians, those that kind of pop culture Western kind of music styles that you were talking about, Sylvia. And we had the opposite problem, right? Our problem was trying to keep them sober on stage. Right? So I was having a bit of a giggle to myself when you were talking about that. It was taking me back. But yeah, I kind of want to hybrid just something Lee said, hybrid it with something else, if that's okay. He was talking about having the right conversations at the right with the right people at the right time. And I want to hybrid that with actually a model that we used to use in the events company to sell out events, which was who are they, as in who are the people that we want to buy the tickets, right? Who are they, where are they, and how can we get in front of them? So to take that into, to put all that together, what Lee said in that bit, and put it all into this, I think here as a group, we're getting very, very close to understanding the conversation that we want to have, okay? I think the next piece of the puzzle is possibly, the next bit that Lee says is in, who do we want to have that conversation with, right? I don't think we figured that out as a group yet. Who do we want to have those conversations with? And then we're into, okay, well, once we just figure that, we know who they are, where are they? And how can we get in front of them? Or rather, how can we get them maybe here on this call? And that ties into the timing piece of Lee's bit as well. So I think that's my bit. I think just to step back and look at where we're at, I think we're getting very close to understanding and knowing the conversation we want to have. I think the next bit we need to focus on is who do we want to have the conversation with, and then get into the where are they? How can we get in front of them? So
and I'll put, thank you so much for that, Eamon. I would put one final thing: to what end? Why do we want to get in contact with these people? For what reason? And I'd like to close this session with a conversation that Lee and I had right in our little private breakout room. Lee was saying that that you Irish are working on raising money to get the homeless, to help the homeless in Ireland. And I said, oh, that's really interesting, because I did this concert in Thailand, and the concert was fantastic. It was this guy's idea. He's the third co-owner of American Express in Thailand. So he's one of the richest people in the country. And so what he did, he said, I'm going to have a party. I'm going to have a classical music party. And whoever donates the most money to my charity gets to have breakfast with me the next morning. So all the top people in Chiang Mai came. And the person who donated, and the equivalent in dollars was $57,500, had breakfast with him the next morning. And he was from Malaysia, and he wanted American Express in his chain of restaurants. And it cost him $57,000 to the local children's hospital. So this is something that also can be done. If you have someone who really wants to raise money for their charity, and who's someone very famous in town, you have what he did. And it was an idea I never would have thought of. So this is what this session is also about, is coming up with, Lee, I hadn't thought of that moment for 2 years. So it's a very original idea, that this is what the session is for, is to come up with original ideas like that. And I wouldn't say help people, I'd say make more creative business. Thank you so much, all of you, for coming here today. And I hope to see you the first Saturday of next month. Thank you very much.
Just on that, Kathy, just one bit, sorry to interject. The word help and the word support. Yeah, a lot of music are supporting, either supporting acts, or they're supporting a charity, or supporting a business, as in they're the interview music. People don't pay for help, they ask for help. People always pay for support. So if you're a supporting actor, you get paid. If you're just there to help, you're never going to get paid. And sometimes in that mindset shift, it's how you're communicating what you say. I'll help you. We can bring the orchestra. We can do this. We can support you.
Yep.
Then you're into more a business conversation. If you're on the street and you fell over and you shout for help, and I run up and said, I can help you, it's going to cost you. You think there's something wrong with me. Do you understand what I mean? So sometimes it's just in the mindset, it's just the words we use as well. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm very, very sorry, Barbara. You kind of switched around on the screen, and I just saw you again. So please, would you give your comments?
Oh, that's okay. I've been on and off because I've got a lot going on. I'm out of town for 3 weeks. I'm on week 2. I really resonated with Colin because I am an artist, and I doodle, not like you, but I doodle like he does everything. So if you were to look at what I'm doing here, I am drawing what people are saying. He's basically showed me that I need to take that and put it up into my graphics. I probably could paint something and talk at the same time, and it would make more sense to me and easier for me to deliver it. with that. But that is no longer my main income source because I'm burnt out. I've taught for like 25 years. What I really want to share, though, from that, because that is my background, is one of the exercises I would do, especially as I was bringing students into abstracts, is I would play classical music and give them, XYZ paints and say, just let yourself go. Then down the road, I would again play classical music and do the same exercise. You would be so surprised at the difference in what they create one time to the next time because of the type of classical music I'm playing. So just FYI, if anybody really wants to think about that, and I did use classical music all the time as the background within the thousands of hours of video that I did do. The other thing I just kind of want to interject is, and Kathy has heard me say this before, people will say, sell, sell, sell. I'm not a salesy person. I have totally taken that out of my vocabulary because seriously, I'm not selling anybody anything. I'm here to serve with what my main, if you want to call it interest or whatever is. So I highly recommend take that word sell out of your vocabulary because I think we're all here to serve somebody in some type of manner.
Barbara, can you just tell them what is the community that you serve the most?
Health and wellness with natural health. And I'm really stymied right now. I can't really talk about what I do without being, so.
She helps the Amish.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah, that's what you want me to share.
Yeah.
I have
part of the Amish community. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's another input for y'all. I have probably the largest Amish team within my business around the world. At least I've been told that. So I have like 6,000 Amish people I work with. So when I come into marketing, especially with the digital, it's very difficult because I work with communities totally different that do not have internet, that do not have phone, that do not have things at their fingertips to research. Now I'm trying to flip that into today's world. And I'll be honest with you, this mind is really struggling going from one side of the brain to the other. So yes, I do have a very large business, but it's a lot of Amish, which is a whole.
Every type of marketing, every type of business, every type of society is a little different. And what she just said is we have to really look. And this is what a lot of our classes are about on Tuesday night. She's one of my best members of my Tuesday night class. We have to look at the people we're dealing with and what do they want and not sell. We have to look at the people that we're conversing with and say, how can I help you? And this is
how can I serve you?
Yeah, how can I serve you? Exactly. And Ali, you wanted to say something. Go ahead.
Yeah, please. I know you're over time, but I would like you to welcome a very, very dear friend of mine, Johnny Proby, who just joined. She's a little bit late, but Johnny is a beautiful soprano and she sings for healing. She has an interesting business where she offers her services to people who need it the most, which are maybe people who are dying or people who are dealing with serious illnesses and many other events. So I'm so glad, Johnny, you joined us, even though it's a little bit late, but I really hope that you will join your group and collaborate with you and learn how to improve her business too.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, all of you, for coming today. I would like to ask you to invite your friends the next time. That page will have the next link up in about an hour, so you can just click on that page and sign up for the next Eventbrite link. Bring your ideas. As I said about 2 months ago, we are the ripples that can change the world. I thank you so much for coming today, and I hope to see you all again in a month.
Puppy, stop.
Good to see you all today.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kathy, for
Thank you,
having
Kathy.
such a great space for us all to connect worldwide.
Thank you so much. Thanks
This
for
is
coming.
just the beginning, and we're all growing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you know, this is the best time to wish everything for us, because for us Jews, this is the beginning of the new year. Monday evening, it's our new eve.
Happy New Year.
So,
that's great. Yeah.
So very good year for everybody.
To you, Leah.
Year of dreams come true.
Exactly.
You need the business.